Have you ever been completely dependent on anyone? You say, well, yeah. When I was an infant, I was completely 100% dependent on my parents. They had to bathe me, and they had to feed me, and they had to dress me and keep me safe. But as I grew, I learned to feed myself and to dress myself, and eventually I got to go play with other kids' houses, and then I got my driver's license, went to college, and I became completely independent. When I became a Christian, I first was born again, I realized my dependence on God, but mostly at that time it was my salvation dependence and dependence for forgiveness of sins. But as I've grown as a Christian, I have grown in dependence on God. And now I am dependent on God for things like purpose and meaning and guidance and strength and wisdom and those kinds of things. You see, the thing is that physical dependence and spiritual dependence are different. Physically, you're dependent completely on your parents, and then theoretically, you become more and more independent until you're emancipated from your parents. Theoretically, because we all know people who are, as an adult, are still dependent on their parents. And then spiritually, you start your dependence on God when you get saved, and you get more and more and more dependent on God as time goes on. At least theoretically you do. And the reason I say that is because we all know people who are Christians that have only salvation faith and never grown beyond that. But you know, the more dependent I get on God, the more valuable I am to God. Not only that, the more valuable I am and the more that God asks me to do. And not only that, the more dependent I am on God, the more I get love, joy, and peace. Well, here's your assignment. First thing I want you to do is to consider what you are or who you are dependent on. Second thing I want you to do is, as a Christian, ask yourself, am I depending more and more on God? Well, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Aloha, see you there. And you know, dependence on God takes humility. Please, please, please don't let your pride get in the way of your growing dependence on God. God bless.